Hey everyone! Back today with my third What If, another Glory video. Not gonna lie, I totally had a Keebly one planned, but I didn't make my notes thorough enough, and then I forgot what I wanted to make it on, so Keebly got scrapped. But Glory is awesome, so this works too. Today's story is about what might have happened if Glory had grown up in the rainforest. Similarly to Sunny's What If, I feel like even though her circumstances have changed, Glory still has some core character elements such as her drive and her loyalty and her quick wit. However, I also feel like other parts of her, such as her defensive prickliness, come more from being raised in an untrusting, high expectations atmosphere, especially given what we've seen of how the guardian dragons treated her. Also, I'm moving a few things around and messing with some dates for this one, so keep that in mind. Also, it's been maybe 5 years since I read these books, so don't yell at me if I get any details wrong, because it's been a while. Anyways, without further ado, we'll get started. Glory was always a little bit different than the rest of the Rainwings. She didn't mind playing hide and seek or looking for the weird-shaped fruits or taking naps, but there had to be something more to life than that, right? There had to be other dragons and things to see. There are other tribes, the Rainwings would say with a fluttery wave of talons, like the dull brown ones, but they're not very interesting. You should stay here instead. Glory snuck away and looked at the brown dragons. They were not dull. One of them wrestled with a crocodile. Glory met Kinkajou when she was 3 and Kinkajou was 1. Those two get on like a house on fire, the other Rainwings would say when they thought the two couldn't hear them. Even though Glory and Kinkajou weren't related, they were practically sisters. The two of them grew a reputation for pranks and exploration too far out of the heart of the rainforest, leaving the older members of the tribe with more than one headache. Their lives proceeded in a fairly chaotic, if harmless nature, for a few more years, as the two of them grew even closer. Glory felt like she'd finally found someone who wouldn't be content with staying in the same place her whole life, someone she could go see the world with. Kinkajou had an older sister to be her partner in crime. Everyone else got a little more exercise than usual. Things started getting interesting a few years later when Glory and Kinkajou caught sight of a new type of dragon. They were playing in the forest, away from the village, when they heard a loud stumbling and crashing noise. Far too clumsy to be any Rainwing, the two of them hid themselves, excitement pricking through them. This dragon was all black, shiny black colors with little hints of silver, and shadows of blue and purple that shone at the edges of his scales when the sun bounced off him. So different from Rainwings. Instead of their thin, athletic bones, he was heavy-set and thick. Glory and Kinkajou traded excited glances and then followed him, perfectly silent and hidden. The strange black dragon didn't really do much besides tramp around and mutter under his breath about all the undergrowth. Glory and Kinkajou snickered at that. It was much easier to fly or hop from tree to tree like they were doing. Silly black dragon was wading through the thickest part of the jungle. He didn't do much of anything, though. He chased a few birds. Was he going to eat them? But other than that, he just walked around a lot. "He's boring," Kinkajou whispered into Glory's ear. "It's almost sun-time. We should go home." Glory wanted to stay and watch the black dragon, but Kinkajou was poking her in the side with her little claws, and if she stayed, she'd laugh and give them up. So Glory sighed and flung herself off her branch, following her sister back to their hammocks. She didn't think too much about the appearance of the strange black dragon, because soon after they started noticing the disappearance of a growing number of Rainwings. First it was just a couple, and it wasn't so strange. Then it was 5 dragons, and then 8, and then more, and then Orchid disappeared, and Glory knew she'd never have left Mangrove, and something was definitely going on, but nobody wanted to listen to a pair of dragonettes. Glory was growing worried. What was happening to the missing dragons? Had they left, or had someone taken them? Then Kinkajou went missing. Glory panicked. Kinkajou was there 1 minute and gone the next, and Glory frantically searched for her, finally understanding Mangrove's bone-deep terror. Before she'd been missing friends, and now she was looking for family. Everything changed when Glory saw a pair of black dragons in the forest again. She stumbled on them by pure chance, and something drew her mind back to several weeks ago when she saw the first black dragon, with Kinkajou, before everything changed. This time, Glory didn't stop following the black dragons. Not until they walked to a pool of water and a large stone and then disappeared right there in broad daylight. Magic, Glory thought, remembering the story some of the oldest Rainwings, grim and frustrated by age, had muttered amongst themselves. This was magic, right here in the rainforest, and the black dragons were using it. What if the black dragons had taken the Rainwings? But why would they? And what might they be doing to her friends? Glory memorized the location of the stone and went to find Mangrove. The two of them snuck back to the stone that night, perfectly camouflaged and ready to find their friends. The stone led them to a tunnel, definitely magic, which led them to a wider chamber with more black dragons, holding sharp sticks and apparently guarding their entrance. Glory and Mangrove snuck past them with ease. They found themselves in a horrible place with black skies, black sand, and a fiery mountain pouring smoke. The air was thick and impossible to breathe, the smell of salt crusting everything. Tiny black dragons flew around the mountain, and Glory could see some of them wandering through a scraggly dead forest on the edges of the island. It was the polar opposite of the rainforest, and Glory hated it as soon as the pebbly coarse sand started shifting under her talons. The two of them stayed carefully out of sight, watching everyone until they saw a pair of black dragons carrying a limp, lighter dragon between them. Mangrove and Glory followed them to a hole in the ground that smelled like sulfur, filled with wet, heavy fumes that suffocated them. It was a rainwing, but limp and dull-colored in a horrible way. The black dragons exited, and Glory couldn't help but glare at them as they left. From there, Glory and Mangrove found 3 other dragons before one found them. "Glory!" Kinkaju's voice came from the shadows, and before she could fully turn, a tiny dragon appeared, slamming into her ribs in a hug. Glory folded over her sister, relief crashing through her. Kinkaju seemed relatively unhurt, tiny claws tangling anxiously in Glory's spines as she clutched her. Mangrove asked desperately about Orchid, and Kinkaju showed them to all the rainwings who'd been imprisoned on the island. "The Nightwing Island," Kinkaju said, naming the black dragons. Glory, Mangrove, and Kinkaju plotted together in secret that night, watching how the other rainwings were unlocked and laying their plans. Perhaps other rainwings might have hesitated to use their venom on other dragons, but the 3 of them had no such reservations. Together they quietly took out guards, stole their spears, and started freeing rainwings. It didn't take too long, but every minute seemed like an eternity until everyone was able to begin slowly making their way back toward the magic tunnel. But eventually, all the rainwings who'd been freed, and Glory and Mangrove, made it out, back to the rainforest. And that's where I'll stop. I was really more interested in Glory's sister relationship with Kinkaju than I was in the actual plot. I think the 2 of them would have hung out with Tamarin and Mangrove and Orchid a lot too. I was less worried about plot bits like the Nightwing Island. Eventually there would be a confrontation of some kind, but again, not hugely concerned with all that. I know the ending might have seemed kind of rushed, but that's just because it wasn't all that different from the books themselves, and I didn't really want to get repetitive. Before I go, I just want to point everyone towards Dog Lover Likes Dodge, who also does some really awesome theory what-if videos. I'll add a link in the description, but their stuff is really great too. Y'all should totally check it out if you're interested in more videos like this. And I got fan art of episode 1! Look at this gorgeous art of Quill and Sunny by Chibi Wolf 0609. It's absolutely amazing. Go check that out too. I think it's super cool. And that's going to wrap up today's video. Feel free to comment what you thought of the story in the description. I'm always really interested to hear y'all's thoughts about it. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.
What does perfect even mean?